for you. This is going to be something new for me, very different from the COVID Cayley that I'm normally involved in. What I'm hoping to do tonight is to start off a series of Gaelic Psalm Singing workshops for those who are really interested in learning about Gaelic Psalm Singing. Something that I've really had on my mind for quite a long time. And hopefully it'll be guided by yourselves, what you actually want. I think it'll be mostly a practical workshop. I mean, we can talk about the history of Gaelic Psalm Singing as well, and hopefully people will be able, who are more knowledgeable than me with regard to Gaelic Psalm Singing and Psalm Singing in general, maybe come on and we could maybe have a program about the history of it. So I'll speak a wee bit about the history of it, but what I'm going to focus on, and tonight really is the first one, and things will probably go wrong and things will adjust things as we do them, find out what actually works and what doesn't. I'm going to be using some videos and taking some stuff up that hopefully will work and you'll be able to hear it. So if you let me know how it's sounding, if you let me know when I play videos and when I play music and examples of Gaelic Psalm Singing that you're hearing it. And you of course will be able to listen back, because the eventual aim for this is that people will be able to start learning how to practically do it. Because ultimately, knowing about the history of Gaelic Psalm Singing or the history of anything, you've got to end up actually doing it. So that will be the main focus, and we'll go back to basics on it. One question that I keep getting asked a lot when I've been doing workshops, and we've done workshops all over the place from America to Ireland and Scotland, etc., is, do I have to be a fluent Gaelic speaker? And the answer is no, you don't. That should not be a reason for you not to learn this, because Gaelic Psalm Singing essentially is a congregational singing. And if you didn't really know what psalm people were singing, if you listened to a congregation singing, you wouldn't be able to identify what exactly it is. The one person that needs to be very fluent in Gaelic is the presenter. But the presenting side of things is something that we'll do down the road. It's a totally different thing again. But the main essentials really that I'm wanting to start off with is the congregational singing. Where that comes from, what makes it unique. So, good, Emily, Catherine, excellent, Kathleen, Eric, nice to see you all. So anyone, the other reason why I want to do this live is I want interaction. I want people to ask questions. If you are unsure, I'll try my best to answer it, because the great thing about the internet is that we're able to do this. It's incredible how this has come about, because we get invited to do workshops all over the place, but these workshops are restricted to wherever we go. But here it's open to everyone. Now, before I start, one other thing I want to do is I want to encourage especially the Irish Gaelic speakers, the Gaelic speakers, because we're essentially the same language. Scottish Gaelic and Irish Gaelic is the same language. And it will become very evident when, maybe later on when I speak about this, how close both languages are, especially Biblical Gaelic and Irish Gaelic here. Now let me see if this will work for me. Is this the one? Yeah. So what we've got here is we've got the Scottish Gaelic Bible of the psalm that we're going to do, or we're going to learn. The tune, I'm going to do two tunes. We're going to start tonight with Kilmarnock. And this is quite a common psalm that we're doing, Psalm 16. And this is something that I only learned about a couple of years ago when I was over in Ireland, when I was introduced to this idea. I'm hoping that Linda Irvin's here from Belfast, because they do a great job over there of trying to tell people that the language that we have in Ireland was spoken a lot by Protestants way back historically. And the evidence for that is in this, what we've got up on the screen, the MacLeod Bible in Irish Gaelic. This Bible, as you can see, is virtually exactly the same. The format of the Gaelic Psalms are in 4-line, what we call common meter. So when you look just now at what you've got here in Gaelic, you've got the Gaelic version, Doch chuth mi roam, ans gach kuj, and giorn moring na. And in the Irish, Doch chudas roam, in gach kuj, and giorn mo gubrach. See how similar it is. So, when we are doing these Gaelic Psalm workshops, I want our friends from Ireland to be actually singing it in their own Irish Gaelic. And it'll work absolutely fine. For other people that aren't fluent in Gaelic or Gaelic, I want you initially to la or use anything that you want. You can end up phonicsing the words that we've got here, because what we'll do initially is we're going to be singing, and we can end up getting the musicality of what psalm singing is all about. So that's just a wee example there of what we've got and the similarities that are there between the Irish Gaelic and the Scottish Gaelic. Virtually the same. And I don't know, it's copies that I got from over in Belfast of that MacLeod Bible. I don't know if you can actually get it or whether it's just in the museum, but historically, it's exactly the same format. Just another couple of things. Gaelic Psalms are in 1 meter, what's called common meter. And they're all the tunes that we use in Gaelic are taken from the Scottish Psalter. And we've got a thing here where in the Scottish Psalter in our churches, we have got all the tunes that we use in Gaelic psalm singing already set in 4-part harmony. And I'll just show you in this book, we've got the split. Let's say, for example, here we've got, let me show you. So we've got Martyrdom, which is one of the other tunes that we're going to be doing. See, there it is there, Martyrdom. And what you've usually got in all the situations is that the soprano, the top line, is the melody. So Gaelic psalm singing is not the 4-part harmony, it's the melody. So what I'm wanting to do now is I'm wanting to start off by going through where the tunes come from, what they sound like when they're done in the ordinary 4-part harmony thing, and I'm going to try and see if I can manage to do this. Okay, so we've got Kilmarnock there. I'm now going to end up playing Kilmarnock as it would be sung in our SATP, or our soprano, alto, tenor, bass part, which a choir would do, and conducted by a choir. So this is the way it would be in 4-part harmony. Okay, so what you've got there is the Kilmarnock as it would be sung in the Scottish Psalter in 4-part harmony. So what we do is we take that melody, which 95% or even more of all the settings that we have in the Scottish Psalter. This is the New Sing Psalms. The old Scottish Psalter is smaller, but there's a lot of different meters in this one. So what basically happens is we take that tune from the melody from the Kilmarnock, and what we do is we learn that first of all, so that we know what the main melodic lines or where the main signposts are of it. Okay, so what I'm going to do just now is I'm going to end up, first of all, letting you hear what it sounds like when done in its natural sort of environment. So we're going to do Kilmarnock, and this is a video that was done a number of years ago by Eyeline Media. So Terry Woolsey and Pete, thanks so much for doing this as part of the albums that we did, Psalm Volume 1 and 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a small video from here that was done in Back Church in 2003. And about 400 of our congregation. Okay, so what we've got there is we've got an example of it happening in a congregational setting that used to happen regularly years ago with even bigger congregations. So that's Kilmarnock as it was sung in 2003 in a congregation. And we did a recording of all the main tunes. Now, one thing that, just to let you know, there are probably around 23, 24 tunes that are used in the repertoire of Gaelic Psalm Singing. Now, of these 24, we recorded them all on Psalm Volume 1 and 2. Generally, there will be about 10 or maybe 12 used regularly in Gaelic services. There are 3 psalms in an actual Gaelic service, one right at the beginning, one just before the message is preached, and one right at the end. So let's now go back, and I want to end up once again putting Kilmarnock up there, the music. So what I'm wanting to do just now is to play different versions of Kilmarnock before we actually start breaking it down into how we're going to actually learn this. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to end up playing a version of Kilmarnock as done in 1957, which was very much slower than we've ended up doing. I've got a version in 57, a version in 67, and then the version that I did myself there. So as you can see, over the years, it's speeded up a wee bit, but we still have grace notes in there. So let me now just go through, and I'll try and get the arrow to follow where the music is, where the signpost notes in Kilmarnock are. And obviously, everyone is not going to hit these notes exactly at the same time, but I'll try and approximate it. So here we go. Center. congregation. Congregational, repeat. Second verse, first line. Okay then, so that was Kilmarnock sung in 1957 in Carloway. Duncan MacLeod was the presenter. So that just shows you, hopefully you've been able to see where the signpost notes of the basic melody are there, and weaving round about that you have the grace notes. Now, what makes Gaelic Psalm Singing unique is the fact that every single person, every single singer in the congregation will have their own way of putting their grace notes in that are totally unique to themselves. Now, Gaelic Psalm Singing works best when everyone is together in the congregation. And by that I mean not just great voices in the sort of secular, in other words, like a choir. When you have a choir, you want to get voices that are really, really good and that can hold the pitch and can sing the parts. Gaelic Psalm Singing, everyone can take part. And it's the actual mixture of the good voices and and when I'm talking about good voice, I'm talking about from a secular standpoint, where someone can sing a secular song really, really well. But that doesn't mean to say that he's going to be a great Gaelic psalm singer, because there's style involved in that. There's a whole lot of other things involved in it. So what I would love us to be able to do as we progress with these workshops is that I would start something off and I would sing maybe 2 lines. Backtracking a wee bit, the other thing that Gaelic psalm singing has that's different from America, where they have lining out, and also incidentally, and the historians could maybe talk about this if they know what the answer is. Way back, Gaelic psalm singing was different from what it is today. Originally, when Gaelic psalms were done, they were done in a system called the long tunes. They were just 6 tunes that were used. That was it. And of these 6 tunes, there's only 3 of them used nowadays. The 6 tunes that were used were Stilt, Elgin, Martyrs, Old London, French, and Dundee. And of these 6 tunes, really today, Martyrs, French, and Dundee are the only ones that are used. So there are a lot of differences between the old system. Now, the old system as well, and we can talk about this in future episodes. We haven't got any recordings of it, but we understand that because we've had it written down for us, because a German composer called Mainzer came over to Scotland in 1842, and he actually went into different congregations on the mainland of Scotland, and he notated the way they were singing. French as sung in Ross-shire, French as sung in Sutherlandshire. Now, the thing about that way of doing it, the long tunes, you started off with a line. And the only remnant that we've got of something similar to that is the setting that we have of French at the Mod, where it's set for a choir. I personally think that when you look at the notation that Mainzer did and even the setting that was done of the psalm, I'm not really convinced that that was what they were doing in congregations. But no one really knows for definite. But this is the important one. And I think I would love someone, and I've tried to speak to loads of people historically about that, and I won't say too much about apart from this. Somewhere around 1900s, at the end of the 18th century, the system changed to the system that we know now. I've never known any other system apart from the system that we've got, where the first 2 lines of the first verse or the first stanza are sung together as a congregation. So just to let's set the scene for the way that a Gaelic psalm would be sung in a church setting is, the minister would go up and he would start the service off by picking a psalm. The presenter has been picked to actually lead the singing. No one knows what the psalm is going to be until the minister announces it. He will announce it. He will read quite a lot of verses. The presenter, meantime, is finding that psalm. He's looking at the words as the minister is reading it, and he is saying, this is the tune that I'm going to put on this psalm. The congregation don't know what the tune is going to be. The minister doesn't know because it's not set beforehand. Okay, so then what happens is the minister will read 6, 7 maybe verses, and then he will say, we'll now sing Shin Shin Nish from verse so and so, however many verses, around 2 verses, and he will always repeat the first 2 lines. And the reason for that is, in the days when people weren't really good at reading, they would memorize the first 2 lines, and then from then on, the 3rd line and the 4th line of the verse, and consequence, the lines of each of the other verses would be presented, and you listen to the presenter. That's why it's important that the presenter has good Gaelic. Now, nowadays we've got Bibles, we're looking at it, but way back in, when this started off, first of all, people wouldn't have that. Now, somewhere around 1900, someone decided that they were going to set up this system, which was different from the original long tunes. I've asked different people, where did this happen? Someone must have said it. I suspect myself that there was a disagreement, like there always is in churches, between the Highland people and the Lowland people. And the Highlanders, they liked their what we call shound nose singing style, which encourages all these ornaments. But someone set it up, whether it was a minister or whoever, because it changed around that time. But no one really knows from my generation, and even before that. I've asked my mother, who was very old when she died, if she ever knew any other system. No. So the system that we've known from 1900s is the system that we have now. So the presenter stands up. Everyone knows what the psalm is going to be because the minister, and those that don't have a Bible, they'll memorize what the two lines are. The presenter stands up, he starts singing. Halfway through the first line, or even before then, the congregation start to recognize what the tune is and they start joining in. And then by the end of the second line, this tune should be established by the congregation. Then the presenter presents line 3, repeated by the congregation, line 4, repeated by the congregation. And that's the reason why I set the music up, so that I was trying to show you what the system is. First two lines are sung together, the tune established by the presenter, and then by the end of the second line is established. Now that is very, very different from lining out, which is still happens over in America by Baptists usually, and others, Presbyterians as well, in southeastern Kentucky and Alabama and places like that. We've been over there. Now, they use exclusively the hymns to line out over there. No one has actually sung the Psalms over in America, lining out the Psalms over in America for well over 100 years. But so in Scotland, on the west coast, we are the only ones that still use the Psalms exclusively and in the Gaelic language. And people might ask the question, can we do it in English? Yes, but it won't sound right. The style of this is totally suitable for the Gaelic language. It should only be done, in my view, with the Gaelic language. But by the Gaelic language, I mean Irish Gaelic as well. But that's not to stop people from other languages being able to follow and put their own grace notes in it. We had a very interesting concert a number of years ago at Celtic Connections, where we had Gaelic Psalms along with a group from India, Mumbai, India, not America, India, where I sort of taught them a tune called Stornoway, and they ended up doing it along with us. And it was very interesting how they use the grace notes. The way that they do their grace notes over there is very different from the way that we would do it. But I think the way that we do it here on the west coast in Gaelic, and the way that the Irish in Connemara and places like that do shound nose are very, very similar. So what I'm going to do now is, now let's see where we're at. I think what we'll do is we'll start, let me put up again Kilmarnock, done by someone else in 1969, just so that you can see, and see if you can follow what I've said. So most of the congregation have joined in by now because they know the tune very. Second line, still congregation. The center has established the tune.
kör mycket bra.
Okay, so that's another version of Kilmarnock. So I'm wanting to set the scene tonight for what we're hoping to do over the next while on these workshops. I'm also going to focus on another tune called Martyrdom, and I want to play Martyrdom, which was recorded only 2 years ago in the town hall, again with funds towards the local hospice, and in this one, it was recorded in the town hall in Stornoway rather than the church, and we had about 100 people at it. Now, it's amazing what a great sound we have. So let me introduce you now to Martyrdom as sung, and then we'll go back to Kilmarnock and start the procedure. So. Okay, so that's one of my own favourite presenters, Murdy MacLeod, Murdy Parkend. And stylistically, he's really a great presenter. And the sound there of that congregation with 100 people singing, there's just nothing like it. And what makes it so special is that all the voices in there together make it what it is. And so I was wanting to just, for the first this is our first evening, that this is something that we're going to aim to do. That we're going to aim to, first of all, tonight maybe focus on learning the first couple of lines of Kilmarnock, show you how I would go around sort of teaching it. And I'm open to people asking questions, because that's why we're actually going live. Now, someone has actually said, is the text available? If you send me a message, I'll send you the text. The text really is the psalm. That's really basically it. The Gaelic psalm, because we just follow the psalms. Gaelic Psalm Singing is just exclusively the psalms. So what a lot of people do is they will end up getting a Gaelic speaker to speak the lines for them, and then they can write it out in phonics just so that they learn it. But I don't want the Gaelic to be a stumbling block to anyone, because by the time, hopefully by the end of this evening, by the time we end up doing just 2 lines, I want us to see that it's the musicality of it that is going to take the time to really get. And the great thing about this is every single person is going to sound totally different. Every time that Kilmarnock is sung in a congregation, whether it's in Lucia or Glasgow or Edinburgh, wherever it is, it's going to sound different. And that is one of the major things that you have with a choir. When you're in a choir, you aim to reach a certain standard. And once you've reached that standard, you want to maintain it. It's going to sound the same every time, because it's the same people that are singing the same parts in the sopranos, etc. Gaelic psalm singing is going to be different every time. People that will be there tonight will not be there tomorrow. It's so poignant for us to look there at the recordings. People that are no longer with us. So what I like to do now is I want to just go over Kilmarnock as an example and show you how I would go around teaching Kilmarnock. So what I'm going to do first of all is, I actually think, I'm just wondering whether I'll do, no, what I'll actually do is I'll put the words up. Let me put the words up. Now, what I want everyone to do in the privacy of their own home is, as I play, and that's what I'm going to do, I'm going to play the first, I'm going to start off with just 4 notes. 4 notes from Kilmarnock. Okay, these 4 notes. Du, 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 du. In fact, no, let me do more. Du, 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 du. Let me do the first line. Okay, so the first line will be. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to sing it. Da 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 da. Now I'm going to sing the words. Docheth me roa mounds gachuj. So then what we do is we slow the thing completely down. Docheth me roa mounds gachuj. Now I've lost my arrow, which is a bit of a pity. Let me see if I can. Okay, I should have the arrow there, but it's disappeared somewhere on me, which is not very good, because I was wanting to try and point out, but I think you can follow. So this is just the music of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sing it, and I'm going to start singing it the way that you would start off in English. Let me just get rid of that. And then I'm going to slow it right down. And so what we're going to do is, let's put the words up. Dochyd mi roa mounds gach kush. If you're going to be doing it in English, you would be doing it faster. You would be da 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 da. The Lord's my shepherd, I'll not want. If you were going to be doing it in English. Gaelic, let's do it. Dochyd mi ro mawn scach cwj. Now, the non-Gaelic speakers, I want you to la it, or do use any. La, 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 la. Still far too fast. We're slowing it down further. Da, 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 da. Even slower. Dochyd mi roam awn scach cwj. Now, the slower you go, the more you want to add to these main notes. So in other words, these main signpost notes are there. Da, 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 da. We've now slowed it completely down to da, 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 da. You can just about conduct it very slowly. But the thing about Gaelic psalm singing, when I say to choir people and musicians, tempo is suspended. They've got great difficulty with that word. What do you mean tempo is suspended? Well, it means that there isn't a real tempo as such. It's tempo, each individual person has their own tempo, and it's going so slow that there's an overlap of sound. Now let's carry on slower. Now I'm going to add my grace notes to them. Dochyd mi roam awn scach cwj. Okay, now the next person sitting next to you in the church is going to be putting their own grace notes to it. Okay. Let's try that again. Dochyd mi roam awn scach cwj. It's so ingrained in my mind that if I tried to actually put different grace notes to it, it wouldn't sound right. But every single person will have their own grace notes that are unique to them. And when everyone is together singing it, it creates this amazing sound. And sometimes you think to yourself, well, how come with all the good voices and all the bad voices and all the voices, the people that say that they can't sing at all, how come it all sounds in pitch? Well, it's very similar to, if you've ever seen at concerts, a big concert, and there's someone up on the stage and they're singing and they're wanting the audience to join in with them. If you've ever noticed that they all seem to hold what, the singer will give them, he'll start singing it and then they'll hand it over to the audience, and they will seem to hold the pitch overall together. So in other words, all the good voices and all the maybe not so good voices, they seem to hold the pitch together. And that is what Gaelic psalm singing is. It's the mixture of all the voices. And the other thing about it as well that I think is totally unique is the fact that no one can be self-conscious. In the midst of a congregation of 200 or 300 people, you could be singing your heart out and it could still be absorbed within the whole congregation. Now, there are always one or two ladies usually in a congregation that have got such strong voices that you can hear them. I think that adds to the whole character of Gaelic psalm singing. The mixture of all the voices together there. Now, we're at a point now where I think what I'd like to do is there anyone got any questions at all about what we've done so far? Because this is the first night. I'm wanting to really make it so that maybe for the future we could set up a group, a Facebook group where people who are really interested in learning this, that we could come together and we could have different resources available for people. We could even talk about the history. We'll have people, maybe there's ways and means, I haven't learned how to do this yet, but we could take guests in on Zoom that could talk about certain things to do with Gaelic Psalm singing. Maybe the way that they do it different in Skye to Harris and Lewis, because every single congregation sings the Gaelic Psalm slightly differently there. So has anyone got any question at all? I'm just looking through them and just seeing if anyone has got anything. And can you let me know where you're actually in touch from? There's quite a lot of voice names that I can see that I know from our own island here. But it'd be really good. I'm hoping that there are people from across in America and people in Ireland that that are coming and joining us. And hopefully, I'm going to be putting this out on my music page from now on, rather than my own page. And if you know anyone that is interested in learning how to do Gaelic Psalm singing, I think this is one way that we could definitely do it. How we'll end up actually getting a whole group of us together. I mean, at the moment, we've got 106 people watching this. That's phenomenal. I was expecting about maybe 10 people initially to end up joining it. But it shows me, and hopefully, you know, apart from, you're always going to have 2 or 3 people that are just in there just to find out what's going on. But I'd love it if people were really genuinely interested in learning this totally unique musical and spiritual singing, because the reality of it is that it's dying out. We can just see it. You hardly have any Gaelic services now being held, and when we lose our Gaelic Psalm singing, we're going to lose something that's really unique. And a lot of people are interested in Gaelic Psalm singing, and I'm talking about people out with the church. I've had loads of people coming to my workshops, even atheists, who say there's something really special about this. This is something really special. So my aim and my enthusiasm for Gaelic Psalm singing, people who know me know that I've had it for years. And I think for us to be able to meet together in this, John Grimaldi over there in New York City, there you go, John Faljorst. It's great that people who have got a real interest in Gaelic Psalm singing are able to come together. Now, at the moment, this is the first of them. We could quite easily end up doing, one way that we could end up doing it is I could start something off here. Maybe take Isabel Ann in one night and the 2 of us could start doing something together. And then you could end up then getting a recording done of you singing it, sending it to me, and we could put them all the voices together so that we can have a COVID congregation. I just don't know, because this is early days with regard to this, and I thank the Lord the fact that He's given us this opportunity to meet together in these very perplexing times that we live in, and that we're able to get Gaelic Psalms sent across the internet to all over the world. So anyone that you know of that's really interested in learning how to do Gaelic Psalm singing, please let them know for the next time that we get together. So for the rest of the evening, I was wanting to just keep this to an hour tonight as an introductory evening. But what I'm wanting to do is to get comments from you. Send me messages, let me know what worked for you, what you would like me to do, how I could help you in doing it. Because at the end of the day, I do not want the Gaelic language to be an obstacle to people. Because believe you me, you will learn how to do it in Gaelic. That is not going to be a problem. Because it is going so slow that you will be able to pick it up and follow it. And no one is going to say that your Gaelic is not good, because in a congregation, you're not going to be able to hear the person next to you how good their Gaelic is. They might not even be singing Gaelic. They could be Because what's happening is, I say this at workshops, Gaelic Psalm singing, there's two things going on. There's a vertical and a horizontal. There's a vertical connection between you and God that you're worshipping. You've got the melody in your head. You are closing your eyes. You are singing it. You're singing the words of the Lord, the words from the Bible to your God. You're adding your own special grace notes to it. But at the same time as that, it's going so slow that you are aware of the horizontal going on. People round about you. And if you start going ahead, too far ahead, there's flexibility. You could be going a wee bit ahead, a wee bit behind, and the overall sound that is created by Gaelic Psalm singing, there's a musical term for it, it's called free heterophony. It's free because everyone is singing it in their own time. It's heterophony because you are using one melodic line, but because it's coming in at different times, it creates this sort of unusual harmony that musicologists can't understand how on earth it works. It should be just a noise, but it's something special. And that is what we are trying, all of us who love Gaelic Psalms, we are trying to keep as much as we can. And when we get together, we love doing Gaelic Psalms. Now, let's go back to what we were doing there with Kilmarnock. And I'm going to spend just the next short 5-10 minutes just going over Kilmarnock. And no, let's forget the melody. You'll have learned the melody by now, or it won't be difficult for you to learn the melody. Let's go to the words. So that we've got anyone here from Ireland, any Gaelic speakers from Ireland, then for you, follow the Gaelic part of it. You sing that. And all of us who can say Gaelic, we will follow this. And those who don't have Gaelic, they can just la it, because what we're wanting to do in this case is we're wanting to actually learn the tune or the first two lines of the tune. So we're doing Kilmarnock. Same as before, I'm going to start off going fast, slightly slower than it would be in English, and then I'm going to slow it down. So what we've got is, in fact, let me just do it. The other thing that I'll say as well for music people out here, this Kilmarnock is actually in E flat, okay, because it's set for 4 voices, and obviously the key of a music when you're in 4 parts is determined by the range of the voices. So E flat works really well for all the 4-part SADB, but generally Gaelic Psalms I found work better with the soprano line 1 tone above. So Gaelic Psalms probably da, da. So instead of doing da, 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 normally it would be da, 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 da. But let's stick to here. The other thing is Gaelic Psalms are pitched for the sopranos and the tenors. So the poor altos and the people that sing low, they have to actually sing probably an octave lower. But that's the way it is. It's pitched because the melody is in the soprano part. Okay, let's try this. Dochyd mi ro y mawn sgach cwj. Slower. Dochyd mi ro y mawn sgach cwj. Dochyd mi ro y mawn sgach cwj. Even slower. I haven't started introducing my grace notes yet. Dochyd mi ro y mawn sgach cwj. I'm wanting to introduce them there, but you can notice I'm just on the edge, ready. Let's do it slower, and I'll do it. Dochyd mi ro us hear the original. Okay, now it's different words that were used there. Now that's the other thing about Gaelic Psalms. There's only 1 meter, so all the tunes will fit all the Psalms. Okay, so that was a different Psalm that was done there. The one from 69, I think that's the words that we got here. It's nearly the same pitch. Let's do it. Okay, first line again. Let's go to the recording that was done in 2003. So we're in F there. Let's hear it again. Okay, let me do it on my own. That's come from Dochud Miro Mounts Gakush and he on Morangra. Let me repeat it. Dochud Miro Mounts Gakush and he on Morangra. Gaelic. That's it. That's the first 2 lines. That's the first 2 lines that are sung by the congregation. And then from line 3 onwards, the presenter then starts presenting the line. And that's another totally different thing, learning what does the presenter do. It's an improvised line. The line is not exactly following the melody, but it's closely following the melody, but it's not exactly. And presenters over the years develop their own style, and you would know a presenter would become immediately apparent, oh, that's Ynys Bragad, or that's Ulster Rutherghan, because they had their own distinct style of presenting. So that really is the start of our Gaelic Psalm workshops. Send me messages and let me know what worked for you, what else you would like me to do, because I want to proceed with Kilmarnock the next time that we're together, and go into the presenting line, but I'm not going to focus on that. I will do a presenting line myself, and then it's the repeating of the presenting line that I want to focus on, so that we get the congregational part of Gaelic Psalm Singing. Because Gaelic Psalm Singing is the congregation. It's not the presenter. It's not the guy that's out front there in this box with the psalm leading. He is very important, hugely important, because he has to set the pitch. He has to set a lot of things. And it's not easy because, the presenter, you don't pitch them. You've just got to learn how to do it. You haven't got pitch pipes, you haven't got a keyboard, you haven't got anything. You go out there and you start doing it. You know what the tune is going to be, and then the congregation then follows. So before we finish for the evening, anyone got any, how do we find the workshop by chance? Okay, let me put that up here, right? Jane, how do we find? Well, you find me on Facebook, and Facebook, Leum Music, Leum. Let me see if I can put that up here. I think I've got it somewhere. Right, Leum Music. So Facebook, Leum Music, you'll get me there. That's my music page. I've got my own page as well, Callum Martin, but that has now got the maximum amount of people that can go on there, something like 5,000. Whereas Leum Music, it's a business page. I'm learning as I'm going along. I'm learning from Colin George at the council. We do our COVID Cayley things. So I'm learning as I'm going along. And this system that we've got, I'm on a Mac computer and I'm using Ecamm Live. It's great. And that is really where we're at tonight. I'd really like to thank you all. Indeed, 122 people, that's just amazing. It just shows me that there is an interest in it. And even if half of the people that have joined us have got an interest in Gaelic Psalm Singing from throughout the world, we'll find a way to make this work for everyone so that people will feel comfortable. They won't feel as if just because they haven't got Gaelic that they can't do this. We can all do it. We can all do it. And once you learn how to add your own grace notes, which I keep saying it, they are absolutely unique to you. You're unique to you. You're a unique person. You've got your unique voice. And even though you might turn around, now, Emily Catherine, let me say something to you. Right, Emily Catherine, what hymn tune should we be familiar with for the next few weeks besides Kilmarnock? The other tune to go for Emily is Martyrdom, because that's the one that I'm going to be working on. I'm going to be working on the two tunes. I'm going to be working on Kilmarnock and Martyrdom. And believe you me, that is going to be enough work, because once you learn how to do Kilmarnock and how to do Martyrdom, all we need is one other tune and you can do a complete service. You can present at a service. So, Alban Nuag, Wendy, welcome. Great to see you all. I've got this thing that I can just grab messages and stick them up onto the screen. It's really, really good. So, Dane Hanam Horst Emily. She Emily in Hanam Haram. Is that what you say? So, thanks so much for joining me. Send me messages. Let me know what you've enjoyed about this. And Murdo, what's Murdo saying? Here's my good pal Murdo Murray. That would be good. It would be great to get a collective from all who are joining in. Yes, that's the thing that I'm wanting to do more of, because I think it's really important for us to maybe to set, because it's so easy to do apparently, I haven't done it yet, to set up a closed, or I don't think it's closed, I'm not sure what it is, a Facebook group where people can get together like any other group, and we would just call it Facebook Gaelic Psalm Singing. That would be uniquely set for people who want to come, and we could meet informally, and we could, do loads of things. So thank you very much indeed for joining me this evening. Every blessing to you all, and we pray to the Lord that this could be a means of Gaelic Psalms. We just cannot underestimate the power of the Word of God, and the fact that we are using His Word in song, Gaelic Psalms. You never know where it's going to have an effect. We just do our bit, and we just go and sing what we love, and that is Gaelic Psalm Singing. So thanks very much for all who have joined, and see you again. Hula Bianach.